Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? We are back again with another episode of We Got That Smoke with none other than Minister Louis Farrakhan. We'll be back, you all. Enjoy.
It is the government of the United States that has destroyed our black organizations and murdered our black leaders. Everybody that would stand up for justice for us, the government found a way to bring them into court, to shoot them down, to destroy their reputation, to undermine their ideas, so that there is no continuity in leadership in the black community. Every generation has to start from scratch because they destroy that continuity. This is not the work of a friend. This is the work of an enemy. Let me prove my point. When the riots and the rebellions broke out in 64, 65, and 66, which gave us a public accommodations bill, a voting rights bill, through the hard work and dedication of Dr. King and the civil rights leaders and the civil rights movement, Dr. King came to the forefront in 1963 with his magnificent speech at the Lincoln Monument, "I have a dream." The next day, one of the field office heads of the FBI sent a letter, a memo to a high-ranking FBI official saying, and I quote, "Martin Luther King Jr. is the most dangerous Negro in America." What made him dangerous? He had influence with us. White folk want to know, if you got influence, will you use your influence in their behalf? Or will you use it on behalf of your people? Martin Luther King Jr. pressed Lyndon Johnson when he came into office, and Lyndon Johnson said, "We will have a war on poverty." But while Lyndon Johnson was meeting with the civil rights leaders, his Attorney General, Bobby Kennedy, was bugging the home, the office, and the hotel rooms of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. While they were sitting down talking to our leaders about a march, a war on poverty, Lyndon Johnson was fabricating an incident in the Gulf of Tonkin to widen the war in Vietnam. From 50,000 soldiers, he widened it to 500,000 soldiers. So when Dr. King said, "Look, the money that you promised to mainstream black people, you are sending it to Vietnam. I've got to stand up against the war in Vietnam." And when Martin Luther King Jr. stood up against the war in Vietnam, many black preachers closed their church doors to Dr. King and backed away from Dr. King. But Dr. King stayed the course because he knew that as long as America had no will to mainstream black people into the fruits of American life, then generations would be lost through poverty, despair, hopelessness, homelessness, drugs, alcohol, joblessness, and fratricidal conflict. So, Dr. King opposed the war and ended up being assassinated. A year or so later, Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Cong overran the South Vietnamese, and the Americans had to run out quickly. And when they ran out, they left more war material. They left money. They left gold. And the Vietnamese then became the fourth most well-equipped army in the world with what America left behind. That was our money they left behind. What do you mean, our money? Just give me a minute. That was the money that was supposed to go for the war on poverty. Let me respectfully say to you, there has never been an American administration that cared enough about you to make you the centerpiece of their administration, healing the wounds inflicted on us by slavery. And now, President Bush, President Bush has the will to bail out the savings and loan industry at the tune of $500 billion of the taxpayers' money. Let me say that again. He has the will to bail out the savings and loan industry at the tune of $500 billion. That's $500 billion. Jesse Jackson asked the government through some of the pension programs to loan 10% of $80 billion to Black America to rebuild the cities where we live. Nobody listened to Jesse. The Urban League put out a document and literally begged the government, put some money back into the Black community, cut back on your war material, and give some of that money to the cities. Here's our mayor, former mayor, Mayor Eugene Sawyer. Across the street in Gary, Indiana, we had our mayor, Hatcher. We vote them in. White folks move out. Take the tax base with them. There's no help from the federal government for cities now. And we live in the cities and are dying in the cities from neglect. Now, Mr. Bush has the will to bail out the savings and loan industry. He don't have the will to help Black people out of this condition. America had the will to bail out Europe with a Marshall Plan and rebuild Nazi Germany after we fought, bled, and died in that theater of war. America had the will to rebuild Japan So much so that of the 10 largest banks in the world, 9 of them are Japanese. The Japanese are investing heavily in America. And they said they're not going to buy no more treasury bills until America gets her fiscal policy in order. But there's a subtle hint from the Japanese that America got to do something about their Negro problem, their black problem, or their nigger problem. I want you to listen to me good. These are the same Japanese whose cars we buy, whose tape recorders we buy, whose gadgets we buy. But the Minister of Justice in Japan just a few days ago said, when they were cleaning out an area of prostitutes, that cleaning out the prostitutes is like cleaning out Negroes. Because when prostitutes come in, the value of community goes down. And when black people come in, the same thing happens in America. Do you think that the Japanese want to invest in America with the cities getting ready to explode? The minute Farrakhan began to become popular in America, guess who came to interview me? Dutch television, BBC television. I said, why are you desirous of interviewing me? And they said, well, we've heard a lot about you and we just wanted to talk with you. I said, well, let's start by being honest.